workout for September 6th. We're gonna do a durability activation after your general warm-up, of course. So we're gonna do an EMOM every 45 seconds for 9 minutes. So basically 3 rounds of about 30 seconds of work. You've got that 45-second timer going just so that you have transition time for about 15 seconds. So we're gonna do parallel shrugs. Hi, sweetie. No, mommy's doing this. So I'm gonna do parallettes or 2 chairs or 2 stacks of books. I'm gonna either keep my feet down or possibly take them up. If you're new to doing parallel work, we're gonna keep our feet down, and I'm just going to shrug the shoulders and completely depress. So if you pick your feet up and you're having trouble moving, just drop them back down, but try to keep most of the weight in the arms. And I'm going for a relaxed position to a depressed position, so fully pressing down, which is where we want to be when we do our parallel work anyway. Again, 2 chairs, 2 stools, maybe a countertop, a stack of books, try to get them even on both sides with your feet just sticking out, and that would work great too. All right, from there we're going to do down dog shrugs. So going into plank, and then from there just going into an A-frame, so that my head is being framed by my arms, and I'm going to push my shoulders up and relax. So now I'm doing the opposite. Now I'm pressing the ground away and relaxing. So it might be really slow, and you really, I was gonna say you can barely see my shoulders moving, but I'm doing this. Arms are straight, and I'm pushing the ground away, which again is where you wanna be. So if I'm doing a dip, I wanna have the shoulders down, which is usually where we put them for most movements, but anytime I do anything overhead, so when I'm in overhead press, handstands, down dog, I wanna be actively pushing the ground away. So you're gonna do about 30 seconds of those, and then I'm gonna go reverse plank on the wall, which is totally something that you haven't done. I'm gonna be standing with my elbows and my shoulders back. So when I pull my elbows back, I want them straight back behind me, not winging out, and I also want my shoulder blades together. The fault with this one is that people pull their elbows back without moving their shoulders, so I do want to make sure I get the shoulder blades together. And then I'll just move the phone. So I'm going to back up to the wall, kind of slowly, so that I touch the wall with my elbows, but my body's straight up and down. From there, you can either go heel right in front of your toe, or maybe just halfway. Maybe I just take half a step and I start there. If that's too easy, maybe you can go to that full step. So wherever my feet are, I'm going to put my heel right in front of my toe, and that would be the furthest away I would go. And then I'm just going to hold for that 30 seconds. You're basically in plank, reverse, and I'm really pushing myself away from the wall with my elbows. You're going to feel the whole body active. Again, the only fault with that one is that people might not move their shoulders back. So you got 30 seconds of those, and then couch thrusters. If you have no equipment, you can do just hip thrusts on the ground, but if you have access to a chair or a bench, like a gym bench was usually what we use. I'm gonna use the beam here since my couch is back there, but I'd probably use the couch. It's a little more comfortable. I'm just gonna go for a thrust. So I got 30 seconds, so I don't need to count reps. So you can hold this position, this fully extended, fully open hip position, for a little bit longer, just like this, to keep some time under tension. Or you might go just even pace, or you might do little pulses, because anything down here is sort of, I don't want to say wasted, but it's not necessary. The majority of the work on that one is going to be at the top, so you can kind of play with going slow, going fast, or even holding at the top. So that's your last piece. Again, EMOM, 45 seconds for 9 minutes total if you're using the Smart WOD timer, or just do 3 rounds of about 30 seconds of work. Okay, the actual WOD, we're gonna do an EMOM every 2 minutes for a total of 18 minutes. So I think that's 3 rounds. I'll do the math in a second, but we're gonna go for a 2-minute yoga flow of side plank, runner's lunge, front scale, and back scale. We have done this in another workout before, so I'm just gonna start in side plank. Okay, I'm going to start inside plank on this side, and then I'm going to take my top leg and move it up. And maybe it only makes it halfway up. I'm going to scoot it the rest of the way by my hand. And you can go into a runner's lunge. You can hold this for a little bit, but I'm going to transition to a front scale. So you can use your back leg and drag it for balance if you're having trouble, but I'm eventually going to make it to this position. So you can go nice and slow, or hold this position for as long as you want. and then we're gonna go to a back scale. So just going into like a T position, so leg lifted, chest tall. Harder would be with the arms out. And then I'm gonna make it back to side plank. So my hand's gonna go back down, foot go down. And then again, you can scoot your leg like this, or maybe you can just take it from here all the way back. I don't know. Hold side plank as long as you want, and then play with trying to get your foot all the way back by your hand. It's tough. So again, maybe you take steps, all right? Maybe you go right from here to the front scale, or maybe you stay here for a second because it feels really nice. I'm gonna try to move really smoothly. Arms in front is a little bit easier. Having my hands doing whatever actually makes it more difficult. If you deliberately put your hands straight out to give yourself counterbalances, you have less variables. The more joints I have moving, the more variables I have, so it will be harder. When you do that, front scale, if anything, this is perfectly fine. Just make sure you're lifting your hip, your chest is really tall, and then when that leg does straighten, it might drop down here if your hamstrings are tight. Hold for a few breaths. Just make sure you're breathing, and then you're gonna transition, like I said, to that back scale. So you're gonna do 1 minute on the left, 1 minute on the right. If for some reason you wanna do more with that one, you can. So if you wanna kind of ignore the timer, you can do a longer period on the left and a longer period on the right if you want. Okay, from there you're gonna go for a row with playing with the pause, playing with some eccentric. So, you might go for like an inverted row, or maybe you're gonna go for a little bit of an incline row, but I'm gonna hold that position for a few seconds, and then play with the eccentric or the lowering down for a few seconds. Bring it back up, hold, come back down, play with that lowering. So really playing with the control. You could do a drop set with this, so I could start all the way underneath, and then maybe I do 10 reps. Maybe then I come up to an incline, do 10 reps there, and maybe again, when I'm super fatigued, go at this high position and play with that there. So it's up to you. If you only have dumbbells, again, you're gonna hold, slowly lowering down. At the wall and the durability, we practiced that open chest row where elbows are back, straight, not winging out to the side. And I don't just do a row, I actually make sure I open up that shoulder as well. You've got 2 minutes to play. So play with the holding, play with the eccentric, rest for 10 to 30 seconds, and then try it again. Drop setting if you need to, meaning maybe you start with some heavy weight here, and then you rest, and then you go to a lighter set of weights, and you do the same thing and you play with it. You're gonna have to already start with a lighter set because holding and doing eccentric work is harder. It also builds a lot of strength. So you're gonna be a lot sore the next day when you do this. But you have 2 minutes to play with those row variations. And then I'm gonna go with a back leg suspended lunge. So I'm gonna use my parallel with a mat on it, but you can easily use a couch. I suggest taking off the top cushion if possible so that it's lower. A stack of books. You can use 2 steps, so if I go up to my stairs, I could probably do the second step, but I could stack up some pillows if I needed to. If you're on the couch or whatever you're using, be creative too with your pillow support. So I'm going to use my ankle. That feels a lot better than being like on the top of my foot. I'm going to grab a dumbbell and hold it just in the goblet position. So I'll actually show you what that looks like. So holding it here, okay? But I want to go all the way down to the bottom so that I can do my setup. There is a way to count feet, but I'm just going to have you set yourself down in this position, making sure that my foot is out so it's under my knee, making sure that this knee being down is not too much of a stretch. If you get down here and you're like, holy shit, my leg is like, this is so much of a stretch that you can't even stand upright, then this is too high for you, and I'll show you a variation. But from there, putting most of the weight in my front leg, I'm gonna go up for my lunge and back down, okay? I don't go all the way straight with my leg. I'm kind of staying a little bit bent, but it should be effort in the front leg. This is extremely difficult, especially if you're new to lunges. So know that you might not be able to hold a super heavy weight. If for some reason that stretch was too much, you're just gonna do lunges here. Again, trying to focus on your front leg. My knee has to be above my ankle. It could possibly be over my shoelaces or like the arch of my foot, but I don't want it to go in front of my toe. And again, putting most of the weight in your front leg. I think that's it for that one. So you're gonna do a minute on the left, minute on the right for that one. Same thing with that one. If you wanted to do a little bit more time, you could. I just want 2-minute chunks. You've got that EMOM timer going, but you've got some leeway with that if you wanted to do more or less time with it. The timer just keeps you motivated. You've got that beep coming, you know that you can either go or stop, so it's a little bit of a motivator, but if you need more or less time, you've got that. And then we're gonna do a little bit of a burner. So we have reps of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So you're gonna go from 10 all the way to 1. But you're gonna do 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8, because we've got 2 pieces. So tummy time, you're gonna go on your back. And every time your knees come in, that counts as your rep. So I'm gonna go from here to my belly, and then there's 1, 2, right? What I am doing is my feet and arms are up. Feet and arms are up. I'm not doing this and rolling across the floor with my legs and hands down. That is nothing. That's just cleaning your floor. So you do want to make sure that you're staying up and using your belly. I use my knee a little bit, my elbow a little bit, but I'm trying not to. That's the idea with that one. All right? So you're going to do 10 of those and then 10 kicks on the parallel. Like I said, you can even hold yourself up on a countertop. You know, if you've got the ability, maybe some books, 2 chairs should work fine. You should have something around you. Maybe you go to a playground or something. But I'm going to do 10 kicks. So feet can be down if this is difficult, or feet can be up. So I'll show you up. 1, 2, 3. I'll show you down. 1, 2, 3. I'm still holding myself up. The only fault with this one, if your feet are down, is when your hips are forward. So I want to make sure that it resembles what it resembles when I'm holding myself up. I think sometimes people do this, and you still kind of are doing work, but you're almost resting. So I definitely want myself back, holding myself up, and do kicks that way. When you do the kicks, and you do like 9, 7, all the odd numbers, obviously you're going to be missing a side. So you could probably either jump that up so that you do, you always, you do 10, 8, you always do the even number. So when you get to 9, maybe you do 10 again. It's up to you. You're not going to be that unbalanced, but just I'm aware that you're doing an odd number of kicks. So you got those all the way down to you do 2 and 2 and then 1 and 1. All right, so that's your little burner. That's your workout for September 6th.